According to the United States Census Bureau, as of 2014, 3.8 million veterans have a service-connected disability. A service-connected disability is a disability that's impacted from active duty service, which can include physical, emotional, or mental distress.
So, were you aware that there is a stigma when it comes to disabled veterans? This stigma has led people to believe that veterans cannot live normal lives, such as traveling or having normal relationships, or even getting employed.
My name is Andrew Schaff Anderson.
My name is Angelica Hine.
And welcome to Vet Talk.
Okay, so why don't we start by you telling us your names?
Start here, that way. Oh, this way? Oh. So my name's Eric Galvin. I was in the Marine Corps from 2009 to 2013. I am disabled. I'm missing both my legs underneath this table, my right hand. Struggle with depression, anxiety, and I have a traumatic brain injury as well.
My name is Michael Negrete. I was in the Navy for 5 years, from 2007 to 2012. I was a hospital corpsman or a medic, and I have PTSD.
My name is Aaron Patchen. I was in the Marine Corps for 9 years, from 2004 to 2013, and I have anxiety disorder. That was, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So tell us about yourself. What do you do for a living?
Currently, I'm a full-time student. I'm pursuing my master's degree at USC for social work in hopes to help vets as they transition out of the military.
I am also a full-time student at National University pursuing my master's in business administration, and I am also a full-time realtor.
I'm a full-time student as well, and I started an internship this summer.
Nice. Okay, so what are some hobbies or activities you enjoy pursuing?
Hobbies, there's not many hobbies for a full-time student, but, I like to go on walks, my dogs, wife, go to the beach, hiking, anything outdoors really, is really good for me.
For me, I think it's anything fitness related, CrossFit, just going to the gym for a few hours.
Yeah, I like to work out as well. I mean, it doesn't look like it, but and I like to go camping, hiking, things like that.
Okay. All right, so let's get into some deeper questions. Explain a disability that you have either struggled with in the past or currently struggle with to this day.
Okay. Well, in the past, being an amputee, being so young, I was 19, I think it was just like a mental, as a young kid, you feel bulletproof, you feel like you're Superman. And then for somebody to tell you, you're not going to live the life that you used to is going to be very different for you. It was a very bitter pill for me to swallow, and I took it very negative, and I was angry all the time. I got past that, went to school, done great things, still going to school. To this day, I struggle with anxiety, depression, PTSD. My TBI sometimes gets the best of me. I forget things, forget where I am at sometimes. So that's a struggle on a daily basis.
Okay.
For me, something that I struggle with till now is kind of addictions with just substances in general. I am clean now for about 2 months, but I used to just drink myself till blacked out. For a while it was on a daily basis, and then it went to weekly, and so now I just kind of was able to stop that because I realized how much it was affecting me.
For me, it was more of, because I had really bad anxiety coming out of the military, so going into the school environment and then having a day, just a bad day, didn't really come from anywhere in particular. Having to still live your full life and go to school and try to get everything done, and then try to have people understand that I can't be in the classroom right this second, but just give me a few minutes. That still happens every so often.
So, gentlemen, how are you guys able to stay positive with your disability?
Staying positive, it's a daily thing. It's a daily challenge. Every day is a different thing. There's days I wake up where I can take on the world, and then there's days I wake up where it's hard for me to get out of bed. So on a daily basis, just trying to. For me, it's being active. It was outdoors, being in the gym, doing something active, and not just sitting around and just kind of dwelling on those thoughts or those feelings. It's kind of how I go about my day and how I can kind of tackle those challenges as they come.
Yeah, I definitely agree that every day is kind of a new challenge. That sometimes I wake up till like 2 p.m. just because I'm just so in my feelings and not really feeling like I could do much that day. And then there are definitely days where I like up at 6 in the morning and I'm like, I got it, and I can work out and just take care of whatever I need to take care of. But thankfully, my fiance, he's also a combat veteran, and he was actually able to cope with his experience a lot better. So because he can relate so much to my experience, he kind of keeps me in check and helps me out with staying positive a lot.
I would say for me, it's not been something that I figured out like real quick or overnight. I'm still like 4 years later trying to figure things out, and some of it is just building new habits, things that you used to do. You start to look in perspective and say, all these things were bad for me and they weren't helping me get better, or they weren't supporting what I wanted to do. So for me, it was going to the gym every day, or going out with my wife, different places, just things that break up the monotony, and you take it away the things that didn't work and replacing them with better skills, or better things.
Yeah, I definitely want to, like, off of what he said, like, I don't want to make it seem like, oh, I figured it out, like, I'm completely okay. Yeah, there's definitely, like, it's still a trial and error thing where it just kind of, some things work some days and the same thing doesn't work the next day because it's just worse that day or something. So.
Like some days you're gonna have some good days, some days you're gonna have some bad days.
Right. And so, like, some days working out will help with the stress, but another day you're just so stressed out that you can't even get out the house to go work out because of how much I'm in my feelings.
Okay. What advice would you guys give to other veterans that are dealing with any kind of form of disability, mental, physical, emotional?
I think the advice I would give is talk to somebody. More so, I would say somebody you served with, preferably, or just another vet if you don't have that option. But talk to somebody, and if you don't have a veteran near you that you could go to, find somebody, whether it's your family or other close friends, that you feel confident enough to disclose and be open. I feel openness is very key. I think as veterans, we have this sense of, well, I have to be tough because that's what was instilled in me in the military. I have to portray a certain bravado, so to speak, that I can't show weakness. Right. And I think it's that type of mentality, unfortunately, that as veterans we hold on to, and that gets the best of us because you be so strong for so long, but then when you close the door, that's when you go and break down and you start drinking, you start doing drugs, you start doing other different things that aren't very helpful. So for me, the advice I would give is talk to somebody, whether it's your pet. I got a service dog's not with me at the moment, but like I'll have hour conversations with him, and all he does is woof, But it helps me just kind of get that burden like off my shoulders. So to me, it's just talk to somebody.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Get past your pride. The first year from when I separated in 2012, that's when I did the most harm with like substances. That's when I drank the most and was always partying and always doing something. And that entire year, like I hadn't spoken to anyone. I didn't know what was going on. I still hadn't met my now fiance at that time. And so not until we started dating and he's like, you have some issues, you need to go see the VA, you need to go talk to someone, did I realize that that's why I was drinking for so much. I was drinking and driving. Thankfully, I had never had an accident. I never, took someone's life, because that definitely could have happened with drinking and driving. But because of him, I was able to, again, acknowledge that there was an issue, and then I was drinking too much and always angry, always trying to fight somebody, and it was bad.
For me, it was changing my environment, because like when I first got out, I would hang out with people who drank, and then I would end up drinking a lot more, and it just was like compounding all the problems that I was having. So I kind of shifted focus and started going to places that are more positive and hanging out with people that are on the same path, and which ended up being like you said earlier, talking to people that you could trust. Just because there's a lot of nonprofits in San Diego,
right.
The veteran nonprofits and stuff that are out there for this. So there's always a lot of stuff online, resources, things like that.
Okay, thank you guys. So there are some civilians that tend to have that misunderstanding and misrepresentation of veterans that once you get out of the service and you get a disability, that you're going to do something crazy, or you're going to go into a hospital. What would you tell to a civilian now that's not really familiar with the military lifestyle, that has that stigma with the military?
I've come across my fair share of civilian individuals who just have this skewed view on the military and veterans in general. I've been a baby killer, which is definitely the wrong era. I've been told, why don't you just go sit at home and not, you have the right to not do anything. You obviously missing legs, miss your hand, whatever. For those individuals, I would, express that, we're still here, we're still people, and being out and about in that community is still very important to us as it is to them. And so just encouraging that, that communication and that kind of going out and doing different things, meeting new people, encourage that for, whether it's a veteran or somebody they know personally. Just that getting out and being around other people, and that communication is very important. That's where I would say,
I think it's very individualistic in terms of where people are in their process of accepting or getting treatment. So you can't really say you have to be this way towards all veterans, because everyone's in different stages of their life and recovery, really. So I think it's a matter of patience, most importantly, and trying to just ask questions, trying to be respectful, hey, is it okay if we talk about this? And if they say no, okay, then we won't bring it up. Or, for some people, they do want to talk about it and just kind of be patient, because everyone's in different stages of recovery.
I agree.
I think I agree with that the most, being patient, because I've come across even professors here, one called me a gangster because I had tattoos and stuff, and just didn't just didn't understand anything, didn't get to know me or anything like that. And instead of lashing out at him, I just realized he probably just doesn't know.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try my best just to be myself. And by the end of the semester, he came around and realized I'm not some crazy piece of garbage, so.
Yeah, I agree. I think patience, with people who don't understand, and education are two big things. Some people, they're just ignorant by no fault of their own. They just don't know. And unless we tell them as veterans and tell the outside community, look, this is what happens, this is what we go through, this is who we are, they're not gonna know. So I think education, being patient with some of their ignorance is very key.
Right. Yeah. So it goes on both sides, both the civilians and the veteran themselves, to be patient with themselves and be right now it's not a good time, because it is true. Sometimes we are angry. Sometimes you do have to say, calm down, and just please give me a second and separate yourself from the situation. For me, I'm really open to talk about it, so I'm willing to have that conversation with people.
What resources have you guys used as far as with your disability, and that you can share with any future people that may want to know more about how to deal with it?
For me, a big one was a nonprofit that I started. I work for now. It's called Wishes for Warriors, and we take combat wounded vets and outdoors. So they go skydiving and fishing and all these kind of cool stuff outdoors. And for me, at the point in time when I started working with them, I was in a very low place personally, and they brought me out of that shell and got me around other vets and kind of got me out in the community, and that really helped. And it kind of broadened my scope of what civilian life was like, because it was pretty close to post-discharge, and I was like, well, civilian life is just gonna suck. And so they helped me kind of get past that and kind of get back into the community. And so I would encourage that, as he said, find some organizations. There's many organizations here in San Diego, because it's such a vet community as it is. Just go and do something, whether it's fishing, whether it's go and have a cup of coffee. Just go and be around other people. So I would say that when I did my undergrad here at San Marcos, the vet center was a big thing for me, because it was an area for me to go and just kind of, if I needed a rant, there was people there I could talk to that knew what I was talking about. It was you got that same sense of experiences, and everybody can relate to each other in some shape or fashion. So that was great while I was here. And now that I'm done with San Marcos and pursuing a master's degree, I talk to my wife a lot. I mean, she's just, whether she listens to me or not, like that's besides the point. But just having that person to talk to and just kind of get that off your chest was very good for me.
For me, it was a very obvious one. The VA, the San Diego VA in La Jolla. That was, well, since moving to San Diego, I'm originally from Los Angeles, and so I had to use the VA system up there, but they're the ones who helped me with getting my treatment started and how to deal with the entire situation that brought on my PTSD. And so it's really just go to the VA and say, I need to talk to someone about this, and someone will point you in the right direction. The VA system is a little crazy sometimes, so again, you have to be patient with it, but in the end, someone will look out for you at the VA.
For me, biggest thing was finding another group of people that understood. Like I said that earlier, the nonprofit. I found a nonprofit in San Diego and did volunteering with them and helped them out with their outreach, things like that. So that was helpful in just processing and getting back, like transitioning back into this, bigger society. And like for me, the VA didn't work like I would have liked. Right. So I found my own ways to like talk to people, and there's other like I said, online resources and things like that. So just got to be open with trying other things, keeping yourself open to, not just like, oh, this didn't work, it's over. Just try something else.
Right.
I also think getting involved. When I was at Cal State San Marcos, I was on the ASI, on the board of directors, and so that allowed me to educate people on my experience as a veteran in the military and integration into the school setting. So that's obviously really important to us because a lot of us try to use our GI Bill. So making sure things are veteran friendly as the veteran student representative on the board of directors was really helpful. So that's another way you can help educate civilians and kind of cope with talking with people and stuff. To come by and take a look at it. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you guys again for coming. I appreciate that. As we stated, they're humans still. They still have feelings, but they do lead a normal life. They go out. They're married, engaged, workouts, eat chow on deck, things like that. So, again, I do appreciate you guys coming.